Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the art galleries at TCU virtually. We're glad that you could join us today through Facebook, and I'll introduce our guests, Kenneth Sansom and Gloria and Jim Austin, and you'll learn a little bit more about them shortly. But we're glad that you could join us in this virtual format, and this is a real exciting departure for us to try something new. And we're coming to you today live from Fort Worth Contemporary Arts here on the campus of TCU in Fort Worth, Texas. I know we have some international guests watching us today, so hello to you over the water. But we're glad that you could join us, and you can see from behind me, we're sitting within the exhibition that was made for us by Raphaël Barontini, the exhibition Caribbean Fantasia, which we opened in the spring, and it sort of sat here for a little while until we could come back in and love it a little bit more. And it's here with us through the end of September. And part of the exhibition, Caribbean Fantasia, involves Raphael's engagement with histories of people that have been forgotten or marginalized over time, and histories for him, particularly from the Caribbean. And many of the themes of the exhibition that you'll see behind me involve reference to the Haitian Revolution at the end of the 18th century. And you'll see depictions of famous generals, the General Toussaint Louverture, and others in their finery in these equestrian portraits. And as Raphael was creating this exhibition, and we were thinking about different options for live programming, and we were thinking about the context of the exhibition being in Fort Worth, which has such an amazing Western history, we wondered what else we could do to work with our community. And Raphael had the brilliant idea of creating a parade to celebrate and to mark and to reclaim histories of Cowboys of Color, not just in Texas, but more further afield. And so it was through our research with Raphael and the desire to create this celebratory parade that we met with Jim Austin. We started doing our research in the community, and we wanted to find out who could help us with our research on Cowboys of Color. And we met with Jim and his wife Gloria, who founded the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum and Hall of Fame here in Fort Worth, which is located in the historic stockyards. And through Jim and our research, we were then introduced to Wolf, and a real live cowboy. and as part of the exhibition, our artist, Raphaël Barontini, created a series of items that cowboys would wear during the parade. So you can actually see some of those behind Wolf today. These are objects that he was wearing as part of the parade. There's a cape, there are chaps, there were also bandanas and hats that some of the cowboys wore. And so you're going to learn a little bit more about that, and you're going to see images from the parade shortly. But just to give you an introduction and some context to why we're here today, and we're following up on conversations that we had in preparation and research for the parade, and the friendship and the collaboration that we've developed since then, because we've been visiting with Jim about all kinds of other projects we're going to work on, and we visited Wolf with his horses. So this is an ongoing collaboration. So we're grateful to Raphael for sort of bringing us together. And, you know, via Paris and Singapore, we actually got to meet new friends in our community here in Fort Worth. So we're really glad to be able to do that. And what I'd like to do now is just ask each of you to introduce yourselves just very briefly. And then I know we have some video that we're going to run so people can learn a lot more about the work that you do here in the city. So Jim and Gloria, would you like to start first?
Sure, thanks a lot. My name's Jim Austin, and my wife and I, Gloria, are the co-founders of the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum. We started out as the National Cowboys of Color and have changed our name, and recently have moved into the historic Fort Worth stockyards. So I am here in our Hall of Fame room, where we have over 130 Hall of Famers that let you learn the past, the present, and the future of the history of the forgotten cowboys. Our website is cowboysofcolor.org, and I encourage you to visit us and learn more about the history of the forgotten cowboys.
Thanks, Jim.
Gloria.
Okay, hi everyone. Gloria Austin here from Fort Worth, Texas. And I would like to encourage you to sign up to receive our newsletter. You can email info@cowboysofcolor.org, or you can go to our website, again, www.cowboys.color.org, and click on subscribe to email. We also invite you to participate as a volunteer. You can still do that virtually. We have research that we are needing assistance in on some of our past Hall of Fame or people that we're interested in including into our Hall of Fame. So if you're a person who is interested in history and who would like to do some research to assist the museum in making sure that we capture all of those unknown individuals of multicultural ancestry who helped us settle the Western United States, please give us an email. Feel free to email me directly at gaustin@cowboysofcolor.org. And thank you so much, Sara-Jayne, for this opportunity to collaborate with TCU.
Oh, you're welcome, Gloria. Thank you. It's been a really generous and wonderful experience. And I have to say, part of that is also because we've met some wonderful, characters in our neighborhood, as it were. And Wolf, we've come to know and love. And Wolf, please introduce yourself.
My name is Kenneth Sansom, but everybody calls me Wolf. I've been cowboying since I was 3 years old. I done rolled all different places. I done even done the stockyards. And right now I just, I'm learning how to do me.
Thank you, Wolf. And he will tell you a lot more about the kinds of things that he does as a working cowboy. And you might also learn how he picked up this infamous nickname. You'll find out more about that. But now we are going to disappear for a little while, and we're going to let you watch a bit of a video so you can learn more about the museum and the work of Jim and Gloria, but also so you can learn about Wolf and what he does kind of on a daily basis with his animals. As you're doing that, please do feel free to put comments or questions into the comments area. We'll answer those at the end of the videos as part of our Q&A session. So please feel free to drop things in there. We'll pick them up after the videos. So without further ado, we're going to disappear and let you watch something for a little while to learn more, and then we'll come back and chat with our guests today. All right, thank you.
The museum has been open for 18 years. We were founded in February 2001 in Fort Worth, Texas.
And our mission is to educate the population about the history of the forgotten cowboys. And when we say forgotten cowboys, we mean Black, Hispanic, Native American, Asian cowboys. Because a lot of folks did not realize that they were a large part of development of the West.
And one of the things that I try to do as a historian and here at the museum is we try to separate myth and folklore from the real story.
We cover all genres of Western history and culture, all nationalities, and the practices that they had in the past and how that brings them to the present.
We do a rodeo twice a year, one during the historic stock show, which is always on Martin Luther King's birthday. And then we do one during the summer. The fourth Saturday in July is the National Day of the American Cowboy. So we always do a rodeo and we do our Hall of Fame induction ceremony. We have over 120 inductees into the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum that tells the past, present, and future of the history of the cowboy.
The museum offers our Youth Western Heritage workshops, and those are programs that we invite school children to attend. They come Wednesday through Friday. We do 2 classes a day. We invite individuals who are actual historians to come in and talk about Western history and culture.
I think here at the museum they teach that and help that, bring that part of history so the young people can see their past and so it'll influence their future.
Because it took the past to get us to where we are today, so we should not forget that. And I'm very proud of all the museums that are taking the time to make an investment into the past history and teach the stories so that the next generation can experience it and understand the contributions that were made by those before them.
The museum essentially promotes and preserves an important part of our history. And I think really gives a voice to those forgotten cowboys.
The fact of the matter is the tourism industry all over the world is looking for things that are genuine, that are real.
One of my goals is that if somebody scratches their head and says, you know, I didn't know that, then mission accomplished. I would hope that somebody would learn something that they didn't know when they walked in the door.
Please come visit the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum. We're located at 2029 North Main Street, Fort Worth, Texas, 76164, located in the historic Fort Worth Stockyard.
Hi, I'm Sara-Jayne Parsons. I'm Director and Curator of the Art Galleries at TCU. And I'm here today with Kenneth Sansom, and this is Leah. And we're going to find out as much as we can today about Kenneth, who I should tell you his real nickname is Wolf. He's going to tell us more about that shortly. Kenneth, tell us a little bit about Leo, just while we're standing here.
Leo is a standardbred. He's a Hanover. He's a Western Hanover. He's finna turn 7 years old in 2 months. And I got him out of Rush, Texas, at a farm down there. But he's not tatted.
He's not what, sir?
Tatted. Most standardbred horses are tatted. But he's just not tatted because I didn't want him tatted.
So we're going to learn a lot more about you and a lot more about your horses, because there are other animals here, and a little bit about your place here in Como and Fort Worth. And I think you're going to give us a little bit of a tour through the space.
Sure,
right?
why not? I'll give you a tour. Como was actually the first black trail riding group area. It was called Circle L5. It was 5 of them. The circle is for the area, the neighborhood, and the L is for the lakes. So they called it the Circle L5. All right. It was just 5 of them. When they got it grew so big. Now I really don't know how many is involved with it right now, but it's a lot. And but we still stand on it. They located over here on the east side, still now. But it founded right here from our ancestors,
right.
my ancestors.
And how long ago was that? Just to give me like a sense of history. We're talking.
Well, I'm 55 years old, so it was here when I was born. So let's say about 60 years.
Oh, nice. Thanks, Leo.
But this community, the Lake Como community, was a knit community where they crossed to the other side to go to do the work over across the road. It's called Bryan Irvin Road now. But it used to be a path where you can walk through there, and if you had a job over in the originally neighborhood, you could just walk through there if you didn't have a vehicle. But things are changing on us now, so we making do what we can.
Yeah, it's like a 4-lane highway over there.
Yeah, it gets busy at times.
Well, and talking about busy, as we were driving here today, we saw a lot of other guys out with their horses on their property.
Yes.
Like, how big would you describe your community of people that have farms and horses
Well,
out here?
our horse, right now, I would say is close to 75 to 100 horses out here. And everybody knows everybody, and we all try to stay together. Every once in a while we run into a little problems, about rezoning and stuff like that, but we stay on top of it so we can have our animals, because Texas is building up real fast.
And we should tell people that are watching, I mean, we're really kind of in, like, there's a built-up area around us. We're like this little kind of patch of green. There's a lot of new building, a lot of residential, a lot of businesses.
Well, they're moving in. What they're doing is they it's getting so closed in on us. You know, a lot of times that we have problems ride correctly. And so that's where we've been trying to fix it, where we can cross over to the bike trail.
Oh, by the river?
By the river, and we can ride on the bike trail. But what we're working on right now is just to get us a certain horse path that we can ride in this area.
So you and the horses can be safe,
So we
and
can be
other
safe.
people using the trail.
Oh yes, ma'am. Oh yes, ma'am.
So at the moment you're like riding around the neighborhood.
Just riding around the neighborhood. Well, we have a club. We have several clubs out here. But the first club is called the Lake Como Regulators. That's the club I'm involved with a lot. And then we have the Lake Como Riders. Now the Lake Como Riders, I'm the trail boss of the Lake Como Riders. But I tell them wherever we go, we have to practice safety. And so that's why we always try to practice on things that we need to do about our horses.
So trail boss sounds like you have to be pretty firm. Like you're the guy in charge, right?
Yeah. Sometimes you have to, every once in a while we get some who wants to go past the ride, and a lot of times they don't know where the ride is in and up. And so when they be lost, and then the next thing you know, we got a bunch of horses in the street, you know what I'm saying? So we try to keep it calm.
And do you have like kids and older people? Do you have a range of ages of people that are in the Regulators Club?
Yes, ma'am. The way I see it is like this. If you can ride and you're not scared, you come on and ride, we'll put you on the horse. But we're going to put you...
I'm going to do this.
We practice safety, though. If I don't think you can ride that horse, I'm going to let you ride that horse. Like, I have a 6-year-old. Her name is Zakara. And she's been riding since she was 3 weeks old. I used to strap her on. And then we go ride. That's the only way she would sleep. If she got her ride. She's 6 now. She said that one of the big horses back there, told me what both of the horses back in the back are hers. And so I have to put them in her name.
Oh my gosh. She's going to be a smart businesswoman by the sounds of it.
That she is.
So it sounds like, I mean, it's a family affair, it's a community, and you're born and raised here, so you probably know everybody in the area.
I try to. The thing about it, whenever you're somewhere, if you get to know the people around you, the people around you will watch out for you too. Now, if you try to single hand and I don't need any help, well, I'm 55 years old. I believe that's a lot. You're gonna always need somebody else's help as long as you're living on this God green earth.
Kenneth, tell us, your nickname is Wolf.
Yes.
That's what Leo thinks of. That's why he thinks of that. That's like a pretty serious nickname for a cowboy. Is there like some scary story involved there? No,
it wasn't a scary story. I went on a cattle drive when I was 14 years old. And it was just so happened that the first day I went out, it was, I seen something peek their head far away. So I rode my horse over and I looked, and there was 2 wolf cubs in a dougie. And so I just stuck them in my saddlebag and I brought them back with me.
Was that wasn't in Fort Worth?
No, ma'am. It was in Wyoming.
Oh, wow, yeah. So
And,
there's a population.
Yeah, my dad and my uncle, when they came and picked me up, they were seeing me clutching my bag. And my dad asked me, he said, "What you got in the bag, son?" And I told him, "My new pets, Poppy." And he said, "New pets?" By that time, my uncle eased over to the side of the road. And when I flipped the flap, he said, "Oh, Jim and Roy, the boy got wolves in there." And so that's what, ever since I had those cubs, that's what I've been called.
They called you Wolf.
I got a small place, but you have to learn how to make do what you got. I got, this one here is my baby. Her name is Java. She's 3 years old. She's standardbred, top and bottom. And she's spoiled. And this is Chanel. Chanel is a 9-year-old. I just had her about 3 weeks. and she's just so stout. She's American saddle horse, and she loves to go. Sometimes I teach my horses to do both things. They pull buggies and they ride on the saddle. When I was a kid, all the horses that we did break, they used to have to pull a sled. And so when they pull that sled, and after a while they get all the stinkiness out of them, they would ease on down, and they would ease a saddle on. And so we didn't have to be so forceful on handling them, because they already know about the steering and the wool, you know, 3 or 4 times around the track, and somebody say stop, you learn how to stop. It's about like us running track, you know, the football coaches take us, but I teach my horses endurance. We go a long way. Like Leo, he don't warm up till after 6 miles, and I'm teaching her the same way. But she's still just a baby, but I haven't really put her out there. But she'll go. The farthest I went on her is 20 miles. Oh. She went there and back. We went from here, from Bryan Urban Road to the north side in the stockyards on the bike trail. That's 20 miles. And so she went there and came back.
Yeah. Hey, welcome back. Hey, thank you all for being such good sports, and Wolf especially. Thank you so much again for letting us come to your place and ask you a million questions. And also, I should say a huge thank you to Leo, Chantel, and Java, the horses, for being so well behaved. And we'll be coming back to visit with them for sure. I think I'd like to just kind of have a little bit of a chat now while we wait for a couple of questions to come through to us as part of our Q&A. And I know, Lynné, at some point, we're going to be showing our viewers some pictures of the cowboy parade that happened here back in February. That seems like a million years ago, doesn't it? And as we look at those, I also wanted to thank not only Raphaël for giving us such a beautiful exhibition, and you'll see the objects in the parade, but also the other cowboys that were involved, because Wolf and Jim, you both rode as part of the parade, which was awesome. But we also had three other riders. There was Jason King, Landris Johnson, and Brandon Randall, and they were 3 great sports, and we're really really happy that they could join us and be part of the parade. So thank you so much. Oh, and there's a shot of the 5 amigos that were at the start of the parade. So the images, just for our viewers, the images that you'll see are some of the preparation before the parade, and then shots taken during the parade itself. So I guess let me start with Jim. I have a question for you, Jim, and Gloria, but Jim, I called you out of the blue and said, there's an artist we're working with who'd like to work with you and form a collaboration, and that probably isn't a phone call that you get every day, right? what were some of your thoughts as you approached this project? And there's a lovely image of you with Raphaël there getting ready for the parade.
Well, when you called and reached out to me with an email, I immediately responded, because the relationship with the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum and TCU has been strong for well over 20 years. Dr. Barontini is the chancellor, is a dear friend, and I told him the story about the fact that 40% of the cowboys were people of color, and he didn't know. So he came over, toured the museum, and he's been a dear friend, a dear supporter forever. So your call was something that I've been waiting for 20 years, Sarah. When you called, I called my wife, Gloria, and I said, honey, TCU Art Gallery has reached out to us and wants to do a project together about cowboys. And, I was just I was excited. And when we pulled it together, I mean, emails kept flying back from Raphaël, from you, and all. And we got it. There's Jim right there. You know, I mean, he's styling, you know. I need to put that up on my page on my website because that is a great shot. But the partnership of sharing Raphael's vision and the vision of the museum, what Gloria and I co-founded, you know, some 18, 19 years ago, this is telling the story. And here we are today, live on Facebook, sharing it with the world, that it's important for us to have our kids learn about the history of the West, the fact that 40% of the Cowboys were people of color, and they were there. They were part of the development of the West.
And I'm going to completely hold my hand up and say that as, you know, a young girl growing up in England, you know, I learned about America from watching, you know, old black and white Western movies. And so, you know, that was a Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon thing that we did. And so in some ways I learned about America through those movies, but, you know, I never saw Cowboys of Color in those movies, you know, and so this is, you know, part of my education too, you know, along the way through Raphael and with you guys and the work that you're doing at the museum. It's really opened up an area of scholarship for myself that I had no understanding of. And so, you know, personally, I'm grateful, but, you know, I'm like a lot of people, you know, we have a sort of idea of what the American West is or was, and how it was settled or how it was farmed or ranched. And, you know, we're missing a big part of that education, that knowledge. And so the work that you're doing at the museum is very important. And I'm particularly glad that Raphael was able to, you know, come to us with an idea that brings the past into the present, because what we should really be clear about is that Wolf and the guys here, they're all working cowboys. Like, you're involved in, you know, as day jobs and as part of your family and your own heritage and your own neighborhoods and communities. Like, you didn't just disappear, you know, you've been doing this for decades. And so I'm really glad that working with you, we could bring the past into the present. And it's such an important aspect of Raphael's show.
And I want to say one other thing, listening to the interview that you guys went out to Como and met with Kenneth. All the Cowboys were phenomenal that participated in the parade and the art, and they showed up on time, and everybody stayed on their horse, and we rode from the art department over to the art gallery. And, you know, it was just a tremendous day. And we're just so happy that we're able to get on Facebook, and people from all over the world are learning about this small, mighty museum in the historic stockyards. So blessed.
And Jim and Wolf, could you tell us a little bit about the stockyards? I think, you know, not just people outside of Texas, but even maybe some Texans don't even really know what the stockyards are in Fort Worth and why they're significant.
Wolf, I'll take it first. And Wolf and I have been friends for 20, 30 years. And I noticed him when he was part of the Fort Worth Herd. And the Fort Worth Herd is a group that was founded 20 years ago. And I'm on the board of Friends of the Herd. And they walk the Longhorns, about 15 of them, down Exchange Street in the historic stockyards every day, twice a day, 24, I mean, every day. I think they don't take a day off. And Wolf was a member of the Herd. And the Herd is made up of minority cowboys, Black, Hispanic, Native American, and white. And the mission of the Herd represents what the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum promotes. So when you saw the video, that was part of the Herd, the Longhorn. And Wolf was one of the most popular members of the Herd, and we became friends. So when you look for 5 cowboys, I just said, I got to be one of them. Yeah. And I got 4 other ones. And Wolf's interview was so powerful. And I'm coming out to see you in Como, Wolf.
Already. I'll be waiting for you. I have a horse. You know, I got a horse for you to ride.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, when Miss Christian Jaworski was running the trail. She's a trail boss down there. She called me on the phone one day, and she told me who she was. And she asked me, "Would you like a job?" I said, "A job doing what?" She said, "Riding horses, working cows." And I said, "Well, yeah, I love that kind of job." I said, "What I need to do?" She told me to come down and show her that I know how to ride. Well, when I first got down there, and when I saddled up the horse, put the bits in his mouth, and took him to the round pen, done everything like I was supposed to, and I worked the horse about 2 minutes. She said, "You hired." So I thank her and I love her to death. But we do cattle drives down there 11:30 and 4 o'clock twice a day, every day, rain, sleet, or snow. And once in a while, when the ice come up, we have to sit down because we don't want none of the animals sliding across the concrete or down there on across the street or the railroad track. So we learn how to adapt with it, and I just enjoy myself doing it. That's what I love to do. My daytime, I work at Russell's Feed Store out there in Benbrook, and I'm still around animals because people always ask me, "Wolf, what should I do with this one? Wolf, what should I do with that one?" And I tell them, I say, "Well, I also tell them, look, if you need a hand, just give me a call, So that's what I love to do. That's what I do every day. Yeah, Jim, you and Miss Glory, come on out there and ride. I got you.
Hey, I hope you've got a horse for me and Lynné as well. Piggyback.
It's enough of them out there.
I'm looking. We've got a couple of questions in the chat I'd like to see if you guys could respond to. First, someone was asking us for a little more about Raphaël Barontini, and just to flag up, you can learn about Raphaël and the exhibition on the Art Galleries at TCU website, and also follow us on social media. And if you look up Raphaël, he has his own website, so you can learn a little bit about him too. Let's see, somebody else is asking, and Wolf, this is kind of a question for you, and I think you started to answer it a little bit, but what's a typical day like for a modern cowboy? If that's your day job, like what's a typical day look like?
Well, my day job, I move a lot of feet around for my job, and I when I leave there, I have to, from 8 to 7, and I have to go home and I have to take care of my horses and stuff, and sometimes I go feed cows for different folks, if they need me to do that, I'll do that, and what I really learned to do is learn how to bond with my animals and with the people that is around me. Now I done met all kinds of people, but my dad used to tell me when I was a kid, you got to learn how to wear your raincoat, son. Wear your raincoat. And I didn't understand until as I got older. And when I got older, I knew, some people would tell you that you can't make no living by being a cowboy, but I'm gonna make them the truth out of them. I'm gonna bring the truth out of them. That's what I'm trying to do. That's all I ever try to do. I'm a cowboy. I've been a cowboy since I was 3 years old, and that's what I'm gonna be till the day I die.
And that's a lot of cowboying over the years. so learning how to manage animals, the horses and the cattle on different cattle rides. Today you do a lot more work with trail rides and people in your community. Could you tell us a little bit, like, for anyone that doesn't know, what a trail ride is, for example?
Well, trail rides it was started back in the day where a bunch of guys would go out and ride their horses and see who had the best horse and who can come out and go the distance. Some distance we would go 10, 15, maybe 20 miles now. But as the trail riding is going on, it's a whole different breed these days now. Now they take a lot of trailers with them and everything. But I remember when I was a kid, it was nothing but horses. You might have seen 500 horses on a trail ride going down the road. You just be amazed how many horses just going down the road, and they're going down in nice as a group, as a family. We need to get back to those these days as a group and a family. We're working on it. It takes time. Everything is a time limit, but it takes time. And I'm really grateful for being around into the position where I can show some of the younger generation what a trail ride is really about. we try to practice safety. Everywhere I go, I talk about safety. Now, the first thing about safety is, you got to know how to saddle your horse. Now, you can't just let somebody else saddle your horse and you think you're going to be all right with it. You learn to saddle your horse, you learn your horse's cues. Now, it's just like everybody, like when I first met Jim, I found out that some things Jim don't like, some things Jim do like, and so that's what, once I found out the things that he do like, that's all I ever try to put in front of him, the things that he like. I never try to show him nothing bad.
And Wolf, we should say the things that you were wearing as part of the parade, and we can see that in some of the images with some of the other riders. Your horse was really well behaved that day because you were also carrying a flag, and we wondered how the horse might behave, but the horse was great.
Actually, that was his first time carrying a flag. Can you believe that or not? That's his first time having a flag, and I was so proud of him. I gave him a couple of apples that night. He done so good. He also had a mirror in front of him, and I was like, "Don't you do it?"
Well, this is kind of an interesting moment to think about that bringing together of kind of contemporary art and cowboy culture. Two very sort of distinct sort of set of ideas. And I'm trying to think about one of the questions that we have in our chat. Let me just read it to you because it's very interesting. It's kind of been on my mind as well. The person that's writing is saying, I'm very curious about, for Wolf and Jim, for your ideas about how the arts of writing can be incorporated and become part of visual art. And you think like Western writing often incorporates quite sort of flashy or colorful, shiny clothing, but we've never really, this person, this viewer had never really thought about that before as being kind of like a canvas, like Raphael has really thought about the things that you were wearing. So what are your thoughts on the style of clothing that you were wearing that Raphael gave you to wear that was contemporary, but there are also these historical references on it? Again, this kind of bringing together this fusion of the past and the present.
Well, and I want Gloria to tee in too with this, but the purpose of our museum is bringing the past, the present, and the future into perspective. So what happened with Raphael's example of clothing and artwork was so powerful for us to collaborate, because in our museum, we have world famous artists that have painted like Buck Taylor, and now we have Raphael that'll be a part of this. So this thing that you guys brought to us expands our world as we're trying to educate people about the Cowboys of the West, and Gloria came over and we took pictures, and this is a place where we can expand our work with the kids and the art. So just an example of educating our kids to let them know that they can participate in being a part of the West. TCU has the Ranch Management School. Now we're partners with the Art Gallery. So we want to expand. We want to do a parade every year, don't we, Wolf?
Oh, I'm in for it. I'm in for it.
Yeah, maybe we should make it an annual Cowboys of Color parade at TCU, and we'll invite different artists to create things for you. We should look at that.
We like that. Gloria, let them know the perspective, because we talked a lot about what we saw at the art gallery and how this affects the museum.
Okay, thanks, Jim. If we were able to go back to the slide we just had before, the big panoramic view. Yes, that one right there. In speaking with the artist, he said one of his goals was to show how the cultures matriculated from different parts in the country, but having an African, first of all, having an African background, that's the motherland of where humanity began. And then from many different ways, it spread to different continents. And so talking about these different individuals, many in the world don't know the history of what happened to many different people from Africa and their perspective. So his mission was to bring the Caribbean, which is why it's called Caribbean Fantasia, and show that these people from African descent, and here in the United States, the Western United States in particular, they also was the use of horses. So showing how many generations before, because there are a lot of people who never put African American descent, Caribbean people, people from the Bahamas, Haitians, etc., in regards to Western horsemanship together. So that was one of the images that he wanted to show, was just the descendants. We are the descendants from these individuals, because many Americans is just a melting pot of people from many different places mixed with many different cultures. So if you'll look, one of the things I thought was so interesting is that there are different historic figures. They are, he used the horses to say one thing, some of the heads are replaced on other soldiers' bodies and things like that. So it was just to show that, to make it simple, the African culture has always been a part of horses and Western culture. We call it Western, but it was before we coined that term, we've always been involved with that. And just a further expression to let people know that people are the same and a lot of their interests are the same. We come from many different places, but we're all humanity joining together with a vision.
And thank you, Gloria. And to add to that, words that Raphael consistently uses about his work are hybrid, bringing things together in a hybrid way, or creolization, specifically talking about the Caribbean and his experiences there. And so I think you described that really eloquently, and to sort of follow on from that also, because I think we should say it wasn't just cowboys, was it? We're also, even though our parade was cowboys, there were cowgirls of color that were also part of this history that's being revealed. So people like Joanna July and Mary Fields. There's a fantastic history of women of color being involved in cowboying and ranching and cattle raising as well. Let me see if there's another question. Yes, Jim and Gloria, do you as the museum, do you partner with other local organizations? Could you tell us about other partnerships or collaborations that you're working on?
We are working right now with a project we call the Traveling Exhibit. We're taking artifacts and information about our 100 and now 30 inductees that we're getting ready to take on tour to, most of the HBCU campuses, to the universities that are in North Texas, including TCU. And we have gotten funding for that. So we'll be partnering with the art galleries and the libraries throughout North Texas, and then the historically Black universities too. And then we're getting ready, and I'm so excited, we're getting ready for a virtual fundraiser because our museum has been literally closed for 5 months because of the pandemic. So we got to get back open, and Gloria and I and the board are talking about, will it be this year or next year? So we're doing a fundraiser, put it on your calendar, November the 12th. It's a partnership with the Fort Worth Herd, the Friends of the Herd. And we will be doing that. It'll be music, country and Western music. It'll be testimonies from some of our inductees into our Hall of Fame. Big old party. You remember Jerry Lewis Telethon? Yeah. Well, this is Jim Austin's telethon. Already. So the Herd is definitely a partner. We honored them as one of our inductees probably about 4 or 5 years ago. I encourage you to come downtown, and they are back marching as as Wolf had said, 11:30 and 4 o'clock every day. This weekend, we had the biggest crowd since they closed down from the pandemic. They had 5,000 folks down there for the Labor Day weekend. So I encourage you, go to fortworthheard.org and check them out. Christy Jaworski is the trail boss, and Wolf will tell you it's a great experience, to come down and experience the West. And then we're in the historic stockyards. We're right on the corner of 21st and Main. Come, we'll be opening soon. Check our website out. And it's just a great opportunity. This information is so powerful for Gloria and I. And Gloria is the executive director and co-founder with me. I'm president of the board. We have a board of about 9, but we're pushing the fact that people of color were there. The young men that, listening to Wolf talk, we've got to get him in front of thousands of kids, and it's just exciting. So let me stop.
I was going to say,
I'm so passionate, I'll go. So
thank you, Jim. And Wolf, I was going to say, Wolf, you do have a talent for telling stories. So I think Jim's absolutely right there. We need to share you with the wider world, and I'm sure there are plenty of stories that you could tell us from your cowboying days. And I know we have probably just a little under 10 minutes of our chat left. And I did want to put a sort of my serious hat on for a moment and talk to you all about what's happening over the last few months in the United States, and the importance of the Black Lives Matter movement and some of the protests that were happening this summer. And the reason that I raise this is that I think that some of the meaning and the themes in Raphael's show shifted and became even more important for us to pay attention to during this period. And I'm thinking particularly of seeing trail riders, of seeing young Black cowboys, for example, on the streets of Houston as part of protests that were happening. And so we've been talking very much in a celebratory term and in a term of reclaiming history of the Black cowboy. And our parade was really, Raphael's vision for that was that it was a celebratory moment. But also we should pay attention to, this more serious moment of how cowboys and trail riders and horses are part of street protest that has happened in the last few months. And I wondered if any of you would comment on that, or how you felt seeing some of those images I know on our TV of things happening here in Texas.
Gloria? Any thoughts on that subject, that question?
About the Cowboys in particular?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think, one of the things that I think is something I would like for everybody to know is people such as Wolf, he's not pretending to be, quote, a cowboy. That is who he is. Many people who are African American descent, that is who they are. They have always loved Western history and culture. When they wear those clothes, they're not putting on a costume. It is not something that they take and hang in the closet and bring out every once in a while. So when you see those images of individuals who are in something as serious as a march of any kind, protesting something that is positive, that is saying that all people were created equal in the sight of God, that is letting the world know that there are many dimensions to everyone. We have good and bad in every race, creed, and nationality. We have different interest level in every creed, code, and nationality. And so people want the same things, to be treated with dignity and respect. And so hopefully, as folks see and broaden their horizons and their understanding, that they will see that underneath all of our skins, we do believe the same. We have feelings, we have emotions, and that they will see this as something positive, that these individuals, the ones who are protesting in a peaceful manner, are putting their lives on the line. by coming out and knowing that there are individuals that might bring harm to the situation, and that something positive is being turned into something negative. So I'm very proud of the individuals from the Western history and culture, because most of the ones that I have met, they are people who believe in the humanity of man. They are the ones who believe that you are as good as your word and your deed. So that is one of the reasons why I'm very interested in providing this history and this information, because it's very family orientated. It is something that leads to goodwill to all kind, all mankind, all womankind. And so I'm proud when I see the individuals out there who are protesting peacefully for a positive message that in this country, we should respect everyone in this world across the globe. Human rights, human dignity is important. So I'm proud when I see the Western culture.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you. That's incredibly eloquent. We really appreciate your comment. Wolf, did you have something you wanted to add?
Well, the thing about it, like me, it's, you know, our country was founded on protesting, which is fine. That's the greatest thing in the world, be able to speak your voice. But when you go to the point of stepping out of bounds, you know, now everybody already know, you know from yourself since you little bitty that some things are out of bounds that you cannot do. When you go on and destroy somebody else's property that you didn't buy, you know you out of bounds. So it's all right to get out there and protest and let your voice be heard, but please stay in bounds.
It's so difficult also too in the context of a pandemic, you know, to be able to do that safely. But the importance of the horse and the rider is a very visible statement of dignity and trust, I guess you would say too. The thinking of that relationship between the horse and the rider, how that translates from a protest from the street to some of the many issues that we've been talking about with Raphael's work. So I hope you don't mind me asking that question. I just thought it was really important that we shouldn't gloss over things like that. And certainly in specific reference to the exhibition, you know, just the fact that the things that have happened throughout the last few months here in the United States, it's really sort of changed some of the thinking and understanding and how we've been talking about Raphael's work and exhibition. And I think if anything else really underlines and highlights even more the importance of the work that you're doing, Jim and Gloria, that you know, there's a past that we understand if we're going to get to a brighter future. And certainly if we're going to do that with dignity and love, which is the way that I hope we would all want to do it. And Kenneth, Mr. Wolf, you know, I think you're absolutely right. You know, that there's a way to do this that's respectful and peaceful, but it's so important to have a voice. And the horses can't speak, but obviously they're there as part of that relationship of community and family and how they bring people together. It certainly sounds like that for your neighborhood and for your family, the way that you've been working with horses. I'm just looking at the time. I think we're getting towards the end. We're just right on the hour that we've been talking, although I feel like we could just kind of keep going. But yeah, just any final thoughts as we kind of wrap up? I've really enjoyed seeing those cowboy parade photographs again. I hope our viewers have enjoyed them. And again, just to remind you, you can see them on our website if you want to learn a little bit more. But Wolf and Gloria, Jim, any final thoughts?
Well, I would just like to say thank you again for the opportunity. Thank you to Wolf and also the other cowboys who participated in the rodeo, and also, of course, to Raphael. Hello, I hope you're watching this. And we miss you, and we hope you and your family are doing well. I'd like to invite everyone to visit our website again at cowboysofcolor.org, and perhaps you would like to nominate someone into our Hall of Fame. The application is online. So thank you, and please stay in touch with us, join our newsletter, make a donation, help us to stay not only relevant, but present. We need those financial help and background. Thank you.
Thank you, Gloria.
And
Jim?
Sarah, you know, when we did the parade, it was, I believe, in February. And right after we did the parade, that great event, the pandemic came in and shut everything down. So we're staying strong, and we're here today on Facebook talking about that experience with Raphaël. So this is a great day. And if we want to, the Cowboys of Color official rodeo during the stock show is coming up in January. So I think it's quite appropriate that we do another Cowboys of Color rodeo across campus. And
I think we should definitely look at it.
Yeah, we
Maybe
definitely,
can I ride this time?
yeah, we need a cowgirl, you know, because the diversity of the West was Black, Hispanic, Native American, and all. So we need to inclusive. But I just want to say, visit cowboysofcolor.org. Thank you for your team and this opportunity to share today. It is truly, truly a blessing.
Thank you, Jim and Gloria. And it seems about right that the last word should go to Wolf. Any final thoughts, Wolf?
I'm just so appreciated that I'm being able to express and show myself, my real self, and I thank y'all for helping me, and I especially thank you, Jim, for helping me, encourage me, and to keeping my head together. You know, I love you. I tell you all the time, I love you, brother, and I appreciate you too, Miss Gloria. I appreciate you a whole lot. I thank y'all so much.
We love you too, brother.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Wolf. And I'd like to just say thank you again to our guests today, Wolf and Jim and Gloria. It's been a real pleasure to get to know you and work with you. And I know this is the beginning of our working collaboration. And I'm so grateful to Raphaël for bringing us together and bringing us this wonderful project, the exhibition, and also the parade, and also the mischief that we're going to create in the coming weeks, months, and years, I have a feeling. So thank you again to all of you. And just my final thanks of the day to Lynné Cravens, our gallery manager, for keeping all of our technical issues under control and managing the chat for us. And I'd be remiss if I don't remind you to, again, look on our website, the Art Galleries at TCU, to find out more about Raphaël and this project. You can also look on our Artsy page to find out more about Raphaël, to watch the parade, to see images from the parade. So there's lots of things that you can engage with digitally. Even though we're not open to the public at the moment, the art galleries at TCU, we're able to do socially distanced tours for our students, our staff, and our faculty. But unfortunately, we can't invite the public back just yet. But please stay tuned. We're making lots of digital materials available to you. And there's certainly a wealth of things to do with Raphaël's exhibition that you can engage in. So thank you all for joining us. We're glad that you could be with us on Facebook Live. And until next time, I'm trying to think of a good cowgirl goodbye, but maybe Wolf, you can sign us out. Thank you everybody for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
All right.